Hello students, welcome to presentation on polymer science. In this presentation we are going to study what do you mean by polymers, what are the types of polymer, what are the classes of polymer, what is polymerization reactions, and what are the pharmaceutical applications of polymer. First we'll see definition. A polymer is a large molecule, it is called as a macromolecule composed of repeating structural unit, and that repeating structural units are called as monomers, which are connected by covalent chemical bonds. And the word polymer is derived from a Greek language which means poly means many and meros means parts. So many parts of single repeating unit are attached, so it is called as polymer. There are number of examples of polymer like butadiene, polyvinyl chloride, polyesters, polythene, and so on. The polymers are complex and giant molecules and are different from low molecular weight compounds, and they are also called as macromolecules, which are made up of a much smaller molecules that are called as monomers. Now, according to the structure of polymers, they can be of two types: homopolymer and copolymer. First, imagine that the monomer is represented by an alphabet A. Then when this A, one monomer, it attached with another, which again next monomer, so there is a chain of monomer. So when polymer contains only one type of monomer, then that type of polymers are called as homopolymers, means only one monomer is there, one type of monomer is there. And when two types of monomer are there, consider A is one monomer and B is another monomer. So this A attached with another monomer, that is B, again AB, so this AB structure, it is repeating. So that's why these polymers are called as copolymers. So a polymer with two different monomer is nothing but it is called as copolymer. Now there are variety of linkings present in polymers. So the polymers which are attached in a long chain without branches or cross-linking structure, such polymers are called as linear polymers. The examples are nylon, polyester, PVC, and polythenes. Now branch polymer. So branch polymer means these are the polymers which are having a long chains, and to this long chain small branches are attached. So that's why they are called as branch polymers. The speciality of branch polymer is that it has a one main chain to which the branches are attached, and that main chain is called as a backbone chain. So examples of branch polymer are polyethylene, glycogen, starch, etc. Then third type of linking in polymer is cross linking. Now what do you mean by cross link? Cross links are the bonds that link one polymer chain to the another with the help of either covalent bonds or maybe ionic bonds. So see, this is one polymer molecule and this is another polymer. Suppose 1, 2, 3. These three are the polymer molecules which are attached with each other with cross linking or covalent bonds or ionic bonds. So as they are linked with each other, now these three molecules become a single molecule, single giant molecule. So such type of polymers are called as cross link polymers. For example, melamine formaldehyde resin, it is a example of cross link polymer. Similarly, cross povidone, cross carmylose sodium. So whenever the prefix cross comes in name of any chemical, it means that it is prepared by the cross linking. And generally linear and branch polymers are also known as thermoplastic materials, and cross link polymers, they are known as thermosetting materials. We will see in detail what do you mean by thermoplastic and thermosetting. Now we'll see what is the effect of branching. So we take example of polyethylene. So polyethylene is available in all three type of linking: linear polymer, branch polymer, as well as cross-linked polymer. So polyethylene, when it is observed in linearity, only one chain, linear polymer, then the properties of polymer like polymer strength, toughness, glass transition temperature, permeability, all properties will differ according to their structure, how they are linked with each other. So first, if you see polymer strength, so as the branching increases, the polymer will become more and more strong. Its strength will increase, as well as the polymer will be more rigid and tough. As the branching increases, glass transition temperature also increases. Glass transition temperature means nothing but a temperature at which polymer becomes soft. It doesn't melt, but it becomes soft. So as the glass transition temperature is more, means the polymer is more resistance to the heat. Again, this is also same example of polyethylene. So this is linear or very small number of branches are there, more number of branches, and very highly branched polyethylene molecule. So how this branching affect the density? When we see, there is a linear molecule or minimum number of pendant group. So these branches are also called as pendant groups. So minimum number of pendant groups are there, then definitely the polymer is more compact. So as it is more compact, they are called as high density polyethylenes. So as number of pendant group increases, but this is a linear polymer, so the density becomes lower. So as density is lowering, but it is a linear polymer, it is called as linear low density polyethylene molecule. Now this is highly branched polyethylene molecule. So when branching increases, then definitely volume will increase. So in comparison to the molecular weight, volume is very high. So definitely, if volume is more as compared to the mass, then definitely density will be low. So these are called as low density polyethylene molecules. So polyethylene molecule, generally they are used in the packaging as a packaging material. Already we have discussed this one. So when the density changes, what will be the effect of density, or what will be the effect of branching on permeability? That is more important, because in as a packaging material, we are much concerned about the permeability of gases, permeability of moisture. So as been just now we have seen that high density polymer polyethylene, which are compact, tough, that's why they are, as they are compact, they are less permeable to gas, as well as less permeable to moisture also. As the branching increases, the polymer becomes more and more permeable. Now second parameter, if you discuss flexibility, then flexibility is exactly opposite to that of what relation the permeability have with the density. So if you see the example of high density polyethylene, it is a compact molecule. So compact molecule means more rigid, but it is less flexible. So upon application of high stress, it may break or it may become brittle. But as the branching is increasing, the flexibility will increase. Means low density polyethylene, these are nearly unbreakable polymer molecules. So this is the effect of branching and density on polymer strength, toughness, permeability, flexibility, glass transition temperature, etc. So the properties of polymer, they are highly affected by how the linking is there. Then what are the ideal characteristics of polymer required? Same as that of any ingredient or any excipient, the polymers must be inert, means they should be non-reactive with drug or maybe any other excipients. They must be compatible with the environment, means they should not cause any pollution to the environment. They should be non-toxic. They should be easily available. They should be easy and inexpensive to fabricate, and they should have good mechanical strength. Then classification. Polymers can be classified on different bases. So first, as per the source of polymer, they can be classified as natural polymer, semi-synthetic polymer, and synthetic polymer. As per the nature of polymer, they can be classified as organic polymer or inorganic polymer. As per the characteristics of the polymer, they can be classified as thermoplastic polymers or thermos and thermosetting polymers. And as per the properties of the polymer, they can be classified as plastics, elastomers, fibers, and resins. First classification is as per the source. Natural polymer, the examples of are cellulose, acacia, starch, rubber, and so on. Semi-synthetic, so these semi-synthetic means these are the polymers in which natural polymers have been modified. So all cellulose derivatives, cellulose acetate, cellulose nitrate, all these are examples of semi-synthetic polymers. Synthetic polymers, polyethylene, PVC, nylon, etc. Organic and inorganic polymers. Organic polymer means the polymers in which backbone chain is essentially made up of carbon atoms. It is called as organic polymers, like cellulose, proteins, polyethylenes, nylon, etc. And inorganic polymers means which does not have carbon atom in their backbone chain. They are called as inorganic polymers, like glass, silicon, rubber, etc. Third classification is thermoplastic and thermosetting. Some polymers, when upon application of heat, they become soft and can be converted into any shape that they can retain on cooling. And these such polymers, when applied again heat, they will again become soft, and again their shape can be changed. So such polymers are called as thermoplastics, means upon cooling they become soft, upon heating they become soft, upon cooling they become sturdy. If you want, means recyclable, these are the polymers which are recyclable in nature. So examples are polyethylene, PVC, nylon, sealing wax, etc. And another category is polymer that become as infusible and insoluble mass on heating are called as thermosetting polymers. For example, epoxy resin, melamine formaldehyde, polyester resin, urea formaldehyde, etc. So thermosetting plastic means what? When we are applying heat, we can change the shape, but during application of heat there is a permanent chemical change in the plastic material. So as permanent change occurs, they cannot be remolded. So that's why only once they can be given any shape. Such polymers are called as thermosetting polymers. Next, it is plastic, elastomer, fibers, and liquid resins. A polymer is shaped into a hard tough utility articles by application of heat and pressure. It is termed as plastic. Example, PVC, polystyrene, and so on. When polymers vulcanized into rubbery products, producing good strength and elongation, such polymers are called as elastomers. In simple language, we can say that the polymers which having elasticity, they are called as elastomers. Example, natural rubber. Fiber, phenol, the examples of fibers are phenol formaldehyde, polyvinyl chloride fiber, polyolefins, etc. And resins like methyl methacrylate. These are the resins. They can be used in a variety of. Hello students, welcome to second part of polymer science. In previous part we have studied the linking types in polymer and classification of polymers. In this part, we will discuss what do you mean by polymerization. So polymerization is a process of bonding monomer or single units together through a variety of reaction mechanisms to form a longer chain, which are called as polymers. So as important as polymers are, they exist with monomers, which are small single molecules such as hydrocarbons, amino acids. These are the examples of monomers, and these monomer bond together to form a long chain molecule, macromolecule, which are polymer. And the process by which these monomer bond to each other is called as polymerization reaction. Then types of polymerization: there are two types: addition polymerization and condensation polymerization. In addition polymerization, a carbon carbon double bond is needed in the monomer. So here one example of ethene. This is the monomer ethene. In presence of high pressure and oxygen, which act as a catalyst for the polymerization reaction, converts into polyethene. So what is the specialty of addition polymerization? The polymer is the only product, means no byproducts are obtained in this addition polymerization reaction. It involves the opening out of a double bond. The conditions of the reaction can alter the properties of the polymer, such as branching, the intensity of branching of polymer, its density, and so on. Reaction proceeds by a free radical mechanism, and conditions are high pressure and oxygen initiated. Oxygen often used to provide the initial free radical, which initiate the polymerization chain reaction. Second type is condensation polymerization. It involves two monomers that have different functional groups. They are also involved in elimination of water or another small molecules. Hence the term condensation. What as water molecule is produced, it is called as condensation polymerization. For example, monomer A when react with monomer B, it gives polymer plus a small molecule which is normally a water. So common condensation polymer includes polyesters with ester linkage and polyamides with the amide linkage, as it is present in proteins. So this is example of condensation polymerization. The pterylene polymer, it is obtained by condensation polymerization of two monomer. First monomer is benzene 1,4 dicarboxylic acid, and another monomer is ethane 1,2 diol. So in presence of heat and acid catalyst, these two monomer react and they form the polymer, that is pterylene, plus n number of H2O, that is water, is generated. Then applications of polymer. So uh, polymers have variety of applications in various industries, such as textile industry, paint industry, furniture industry, and so on. But in this topic we are going to discuss the pharmaceutical applications of polymers. So polymers, they can be used as a coating material. So for coating of tablet or microparticles, they can be used. For example, HPMC, methyl cellulose, ethyl cellulose, propyl glycol. Number of polymers can be used as a coating material. They also can be used as a binder in tableting granulation. For example, acacia, gelatin, sodium alginate, methyl cellulose, PVP. Number of polymers. They can be used as a disintegrating agent like starch, HPMC, some super disintegrant like cross sodium, cross povidone, etc. Polymers also can be used as a thickening agent in suspension and in ophthalmic preparations like methyl cellulose. They also used in a semi-solid doses form to form a basis in ointments. They also used in creams. They also used in paste. Polymers are also used in hard and soft gelatin capsules, where gelatin is nothing but a polymer. Gelatin is also used as a suppository base and as an emulsifying agent as well as suspending agent. Means nearly polymers are useful or used in every type of dosage form in pharmaceuticals. So in microencapsulations also polymers are used for coating of either solid or liquid particles like ethylene, ethyl cellulose, gelatin, acacia, and so on. Biodegradable polymers are used nowadays in drug delivery like polyesters, proteins, carbohydrates. Polymers have application in packaging also, like packaging means glass, it is also polymer, plastic, rubber, all these are nothing but polymers. Now we'll see what do you mean by biodegradable polymer. So biodegradable polymer means the polymers which degrade in biological fluid or which degrade in body, that polymer are called as biodegradable polymers. So biodegradable polymers can be classified in two types: natural biodegradable polymers like xanthan gum, guar gum, chitosan, chitin, etc. Synthetic biodegradable polymers like polyanhydrides, polybeta hydroxybutyric acids, etc. So most of the time synthetic biodegradable polymers are preferred more than the natural biodegradable polymer, because synthetic biodegradable polymer, they are free of immunogenicity, and their physicochemical properties are more predictable and reproducible. Why? Because we know that the source of natural polymer like xanthan gum or gar gum, they are from the different plants, or what we can say, their extraction process is different, so their physical properties, their viscosity may differ slightly. But synthetic polymer means they are more uniform in their properties, physicochemical properties, as well as some of the natural biodegradable polymer, they sometimes act as a allergens also, or antigenic in nature. So that's why generally synthetic biodegradable degradable polymers are preferred. Now advantages of biodegradable polymer: they can be used for drug targeting or localized drug delivery. They are generally useful in sustained drug delivery. They are useful in reducing the side effects. Being a biodegradable, they have improved patient compliance, and the degradation rate of biodegradable polymer can is controllable. Now applications of biodegradable polymer, they also have variety of application, means everywhere, nearly all dosage form: tablet, capsule, liquids, solutions, suspension, emulsion, parenteral preparations, semi solid preparation, everywhere they are useful. But apart from this, they also useful, biodegradable polymer are used in wound management, means preparation of sutures and ligatures. Now if we are using sutures and ligatures prepared of biodegradable polymer, there is no need to remove these sutures and ligatures. After a specific time of 8 to 10 days, they will degrade in body itself. So this is major advantage. They also, biodegradable polymers also used to prepare the orthopedic devices such as rods, biodegradable screws, biodegradable staples, ligaments, pins, etc. They also have dental applications for the preparation of guided tissue regeneration membrane. Biodegradable polymers also can be used to prepare the dental cones, which are used to fill the void following the tooth extraction. So these are the references for polymer science for further study. And thank you very much.